One of the things I'm going to cover for you today and start out with, because it's so very important, is your credit score. Most people today understand that credit, and whether it's buying a car or getting a mortgage or anything today, credit's very important. And I'm just going to touch on a couple points. Credit report is an accounting of your credit history. It records payment histories, amount of time accounts are open, credit inquiries, results of legal proceeding. A score can be anywhere from 350, although I've never seen one under 400, but then it can go all the way up to 800. Very few times I see one at the 800 credit score range. It's an indication of the probability of you being late 90 days or more with any account in the next 24 months. And it has the greatest impact on your interest rates. When you go to buy a car today, your payment a lot of times is tied to your credit report. Well, the same thing is happening in the mortgage industry. It just changed a few years ago, maybe 3-4 years ago, where the interest rate is tied to what your credit score is, or sometimes your mortgage interest or mortgage insurance is tied to what your credit score is. Okay. What I did put in your pamphlet, everybody should have a Faber Homes pamphlet, and what I did put in there is I gave you the phone numbers here. Does everybody know that you have the legal right to get a credit report annually from each one of these credit reporting agencies? Basically, the credit reporting agency, it's just a repository for credit information. They're just gathering credit information from whoever you're borrowing, taking a loan, installment loan, whether it's a car loan, school loan, and they're gathering that information. Each bureau has its own scoring model, and not all accounts are reported to each bureau. You are entitled to a free annual credit report, which I mentioned, and a lot of times this happens. When I first went for a mortgage back in '92, I know I don't look that old. When I first went for a mortgage in 1992, I had my father's credit on my credit report. Unfortunately, it wasn't good. If it was good, I would have left it on there. But it took me a couple months. I actually had to went in for an FHA mortgage. It took me a while to get into a Sunny Manor mortgage, which required a higher credit score. Okay. This just tells you how your credit score, what it's based on. 35% of your credit score is your history, your payment history. I thought at one time it was just based on your history, but that's just 35% of your credit score. 30% is available credit, how much credit that you have available. 15% is the length of history, how long you've had credit, number of inquiries, and then type of credit, both at 10%. So sometimes we have people come to us and they've never taken a credit card, they've never taken a car loan, so it's very difficult to get a lender to actually approve that loan because they don't have a credit history. They don't have a credit score at all. So this company here, we've worked with in the last 6 months, and Aubrey was supposed to be here, so I'm kind of covering all these points for him. But he works for National Credit Care. And it's a company that I do recommend quite a bit for people that are trying to either, they're not mortgageable right now, their credit's too low, their credit score is too low, and they're trying to raise that credit score. Or somebody that's trying to improve, so they could get this level of mortgage and the rate would be this, or it'd be an FHA mortgage, and they're trying to raise their credit score a little bit so they could switch over to a better mortgage program, which might require, maybe you're at 620, but you need to be at 660 or 670 credit score. So we've recommended Aubrey. It's a very reasonable cost. It's usually $200, $189 to enroll. They charge $89 to enroll if you're a Faber customer. We recommend you. And then you just pay $59 a month. And right up front, they tell you, they analyze your credit and say, geez, this is something that we might be able to work with, and it'll take us 2 to 3 months to improve this. Or it's going to take much longer than this, and they estimate how many months you'd be paying them to assist you and work with you and counsel you on what you need to do. I mean, most people think, geez, if I just go ahead and pay this off, my credit score is going to improve. But actually, it's quite different from that, and it's almost like a chess match. It's you need to there's some things we always want to leave open, If you pay down a credit card, you don't necessarily want to close it, you want to leave it open. I think, is that on the next screen? Okay. You want to have at least one open and active credit card. Keep credit card balances below 30% of the limit, if you can. Use your credit card monthly to build credit with activity. Don't close unused, I just mentioned that, don't close an unused account at zero balance. Can help your score, but in keeping it open, especially if you're just applying for a mortgage or want to apply. Don't apply for any new accounts of any kind. Don't co-sign. Everybody knows the co-sign. You know, a lot of people come into us and say, geez, I just co-signed for a relative, but in reality, the co-signer is held liable just like the original signer. Don't let anyone else pull your credit. Well, at some point you're going to need to have your credit pulled. And people come in and say sometimes, geez, I just had credit pulled, I don't want to pull it again. It's true. I mean, you don't want to pull your credit too often because that 10% of your score is how many times it's pulled. You can be impacted by that. But you have to pull it, and if you work with one lender or a couple different lenders, usually that's not going to have a bad or a negative impact on your credit. Don't pay collections. Well, they're going to counsel with you. If you're in a need to increase your credit score, that's what they get paid for, is what to pay, what not to pay, how much to pay. So they've been great. We have about maybe a dozen or more then right now in with National Credit. We just wrote our first contract with a customer that was with them for 2 months. We're able to increase their credit and are now getting the mortgage that they want and are going to be building a Faber home. So this is really, I've been in the industry 28 years, and this is something that is surprising to me, because a lot of times we try and work with people, but you just don't know what to do. And they stand behind it. They've been very good. I'm going to ask Bridget to take over the next couple screens here. We're going to talk a little bit just in general about some mortgages. So, if you want to